Hey there, and welcome back to Tim Talks Cooking. Today we are talking homemade Asian chili paste. You got that right, homemade Asian chili paste. And we're going to make a bunch of it for a song. I mean, really, if you like to make Asian dishes at home, you know that the sauces you have to buy like Asian chili paste can cost you $3 to $4, $5, $6, $7 to get a nice, authentic paste. And sometimes they have ingredients in them we don't want, and like all kinds of industrially produced foods, they're maybe not as good as homemade. So I'm going to show you how to make a really great approximation with fairly normal ingredients of a sugar-free version of Asian chili paste, which you can use in all kinds of keto Asian dishes to approximate the high-carb versions that you love so much. Let's get started. Now, of course, you can buy Korean chili paste in an Asian grocery store or an Asian market. I don't have one close by, so I'm going to make my own by approximating the flavors that you have in my own paste. Here I've got a handful of red chilies that I use for Chinese cooking. I think these are called bird chilies. I'm also going to use, to give it a pasty consistency, I'm going to use some chickpeas. This is a half a cup right here. I may not use them all. We'll see when we blend the recipe together. You're also going to need 2 tablespoons of tamari. You could also use soy sauce if you like. Tablespoon of white vinegar. Tablespoon of erythritol or other sweetener. If you're not going low carb, of course, you could use sugar or honey or whatever sweetener you like. I've got 4 nice big cloves of garlic here. And I've got 4 cups of water that I'm going to bring to a boil. We're going to start by soaking our chilies in that. To prepare our chilies, we're going to take a boiling quart of water here, and we're just going to soak them in that. I'm just going to pour it over. There we go. And I'm going to cover it and leave it for at least a half an hour. Now, if you're new to scratch cooking and you don't know what to do with the clove of garlic, here's what you do. Couldn't be easier. Take your clove of garlic unpeeled, put the flat side of your knife against it, give it a whack, peel comes right off. And there we go. There you have it. And now it's ready to chop. And in this recipe, we're going to blend this in the blender. We don't have to be too precise about this, but to make sure it gets evenly distributed in the blender, we're going to chop it up like that. Nothing to it. Then on to the other 3 cloves, and we're done. After half an hour, my chilies have been soaked, and I've drained them, just using a strainer, and I haven't dried them or anything. If there's a little water left in them, that's okay. I'm going to put them in our blender. Make sure you wash your hands really well after this, because you're going to have chili oil on your fingers. We're just going to add the rest of most of the ingredients here. There's our tamari, the garlic, white vinegar, the sweetener, again that's erythritol, and we're also going to add about a cup of water to get this started. And on goes the lid. And we're going to puree it until it's a fine puree. And here's what we end up with. Now this is pretty thin. It's not real thin. It's not really. But that's what the chickpeas are for. Now here I'm just going to scrape the sides down. This smells fantastic, by the way. And you know what? When you buy these sauces in stores, they cost a fortune, and as you can see here, this really costs almost nothing to make. I'm going to add in about half of my chickpeas, about 1/4 cup of chickpeas. I don't want this to I don't want it to be too thick. And kind of experiment like I'm doing here on your own, but you see there's really nothing to it, and we're just going to puree that. Puree it, give it a little check, and we're going to add chickpeas until I think the texture is right. I want I think a little more. Maybe we need to add them all. Let's see what happens when we add them all. I think that'll be fine actually. In a traditional recipe, they would use miso which is a fermented soybean. Here we would use fermented soybeans or a fermented chickpea. I saw in a recipe. I can't imagine in what store where I live I would get fermented chickpeas. Thus the vinegar and the chickpeas. Because what we want is a tang, and we want to be able to thicken our sauce. Here we go. And now we have a very nice paste consistency. And there we have it. Of course, in our last step here, what I want to do is taste it and adjust it for saltiness and for sweetness. I'm just going to... Okay. Nice. I think I'm going to add another tablespoon of sweetener here and a little bit of soy sauce. Well, all right. After a little kitchen cleanup here, well, not too much. You can see behind me I still have some work to do. Here we've got a whole pint of beautiful Asian chili paste that we could use in lots of dishes. And you know what? It cost me less than $1 to make this amount of chili paste. When you buy this at a grocery store or even in an Asian market, half the size will cost you $3 to $7 actually. So here, this is a pretty good substitute, especially if you live in the middle of nowhere like me and it's hard to get these sort of specialized ingredients. This really hits all of the flavor centers that we're going to find in Asian chili paste everywhere. There's a garlic flavor, there's hot, salty, and sour, and sweet. And that's what we got going on here. I hope you'll try this, and please let me know what you think. And while you're at it, how about you share, like, comment, and subscribe? Thanks for joining us here today on Tim Talks Cooking. We'll catch you next time.